The little girl's heartbeat sounded like goodbye. Dr. Renata Cole pressed the stethoscope harder against her chest, as if pressure alone could change what she was hearing. Behind her, the father stood frozen in the doorway. He'd already buried his wife, already buried his son, and now his hands were shaking so badly he had to grip the doorframe just to stay upright. When their eyes met, she saw a man who'd forgotten how to breathe. 17 days ago, Owen Langford was the kind of man who could buy anything. Private islands, experimental treatments, the best minds in medicine. But you can't buy a cure that doesn't exist. And his 8-year-old daughter, Kala, was dying of something no one had ever seen before. Not just dying, disappearing. One day her immune system attacked her kidneys. The next day her lungs. Then her skin started bruising from the inside out, like her body had declared war on itself. The doctors called it idiopathic. Owen called it a death sentence dressed up in medical jargon. He'd been told to say goodbye 4 times already. 4 times he'd refused. But hope isn't infinite. And every morning when he walked into Kala's room and saw how much smaller she looked in that bed, how much lighter, like she was already halfway gone, he felt himself running out. Then someone whispered a name he'd never heard before. Dr. Renata Cole. A woman who'd walked away from everything. A woman no one could find. A woman who, according to 2 people who wouldn't say how they knew her, could see death coming and sometimes convince it to turn around. But no one knew if she'd answer the phone, or if she even cared anymore. That was the moment everything quietly began to unravel. This is a golden heart story. For anyone who's ever loved someone so much that losing them felt like losing your own heartbeat. Before we go further, I need to know something. Have you ever been the last person still fighting when everyone else had already let go? Drop it in the comments, because this story is about what happens when love refuses to surrender. Now let's continue. Her name was Dr. Renata Cole. 54. Immunologist, diagnostician, breaker of impossible cases. And she lived like a ghost. A small clinic in the mountains of North Carolina. No staff, no partners, just her. 6 exam rooms and patients who paid in cash or homemade gem or sometimes nothing at all. She didn't advertise, didn't take insurance, didn't return calls from hospitals who still tried to recruit her back. Because Renata Cole had learned something 12 years ago. Something that shattered her so completely she'd never fully put herself back together. Institutions don't save people. People save people. And sometimes, not even that is enough. She woke every morning at 4:47 a.m. Not by choice. That was the time her daughter died. Maya, 9 years old, leukemia. The kind that doesn't respond to treatment, doesn't care how brilliant your mother is, doesn't wait. Renata had been in her 2nd year of residency at Johns Hopkins. She thought if she worked harder, asked sharper questions, read every study twice, she could find the answer. She was wrong. Maya died on a Tuesday. And Renata stopped believing in miracles. But she didn't stop working. She couldn't. Because every patient she saw was a second chance she didn't get with her daughter. Every case she cracked was proof that sometimes you can pull someone back from the edge. Her colleagues used to call her obsessive. Now no one called her at all. She preferred it that way. Silence didn't ask questions. Silence didn't fail you. Her morning routine never changed. Black coffee, 2 pieces of toast, NPR on low. Then she'd sit on the porch and watch the sun rise over the ridge. And for 11 minutes, just 11, she'd let herself remember what Maya's laugh sounded like. After that, she got to work. Because grief was only allowed in the margins. This particular morning, her phone rang at 6:03 a.m. And no number. Dr. Cole? The voice was steady, but underneath it, She heard something she recognized. Desperation trying to sound like control. "This is Owen Langford. I need your help. I don't take new patients. My daughter is 8 years old. She has weeks to live, and 17 doctors have told me there's nothing they can do." Renata closed her eyes. "I'm sorry, Mr. Langford. Please." The word cracked. "Just barely. But enough. Please, just to look at her file, that's all I'm asking." Renata should have said no. She'd said no 100 times before. But something in his voice reminded her of the sound she used to make late at night in hospital corridors when no one was listening. The sound of a parent breaking in real time. "Send me everything," she said quietly. "I'll call you tonight." She hung up and stared at the mountains for a long time. His name was Owen Langford, 58, founder of Langford Pharmaceuticals, billionaire, widower, father, survivor, though he wasn't sure that was the right word anymore. 26 years ago, he and his wife Justine had started the company in a basement with one patent and a dream that felt impossible. She was the scientist, he was the strategist. They were magic. 3 years later, they had their son, Elliot. 5 years after that, Calla. Owen used to think he had everything. He used to think love was the one thing money couldn't buy, but also the one thing it could protect. He was wrong. Justine died in childbirth. Hemorrhage, sudden, irreversible. One moment she was squeezing his hand, smiling through the pain. The next, the room filled with alarms. And then, silence. Owen held Calla for the first time while his wife's body was still warm in the bed beside him. He didn't know it was possible to feel joy and devastation in the same breath. But he learned. He threw himself into being a father. Elliot, 12 at the time, became his right hand. Serious, thoughtful, so much like Justine it hurt to look at him sometimes. And Calla was light itself. Messy pigtails, scraped knees, a laugh that sounded like bells. She collected rocks, loved frogs, asked a million questions and never waited for answers. Owen rebuilt his life around them. It wasn't the life he'd planned, but it was enough. Then, 7 years ago, Elliot died, 17 years old, driving home from a friend's house. Wet roads, a curve he'd taken 1,000 times, but not that night. Owen got the call at 11:43 p.m. He didn't remember driving to the hospital, didn't remember identifying the body. He only remembered Calla, 1 year old, asleep in her crib, unaware that half her family was gone. Owen stopped sleeping after that, stopped eating unless someone reminded him. He went to work, signed things, attended meetings, but he wasn't really there. He was underwater. The only thing that kept him breathing was Calla, her tiny hands reaching for him, her voice saying, "Daddy up." She saved him. Every single day she saved him. And now she was dying. It started so small he almost missed it. Fatigue. She stopped running in the yard. Then bruises, dark ones, in strange places. Then fainting. Then seizures. Then blood tests that made doctors go quiet. They ran every test, tried every treatment. Her body wasn't rejecting the treatments, it was ignoring them. Like it had decided to shut down and nothing could convince it otherwise. One doctor called it autoimmune. Another said it was neurological. A third admitted he had no idea. But they all agreed on one thing. Calla was running out of time. Owen sat in her hospital room every night and watched her sleep. She looked so small, so fragile. Sometimes she'd wake up and smile at him, and he'd smile back, and neither of them would say what they were both thinking. How much longer? He couldn't lose her. He wouldn't. But he didn't know how to fight something that had no name. Until someone, whose name he didn't catch, mentioned a doctor in North Carolina. She's unconventional, brilliant, hasn't practiced in a major hospital in over a decade. But if there's an answer, she'll find it. What's her name? Renata Cole. But I'm warning you. She doesn't take calls. Doesn't do consultations. She's elective. Owen didn't care about selective. He cared about Calla. So he made the call. Renata sat in her kitchen that night surrounded by Calla's medical files. 17 doctors, hundreds of pages, thousands of test results, and every single one of them screaming the same thing: we don't understand what's happening. But Renata did. Or at least she was starting to. She'd been reading for 4 hours when she saw it. A pattern. Faint. Almost invisible. The kind of thing you'd miss unless you'd spent years looking at the edges of medicine, where textbooks ended and intuition began. Calla's white blood cell count wasn't just fluctuating. It was oscillating. Like a wave, predictable, rhythmic. Every 6 days, it spiked. Every 6 days, it crashed. No one had noticed because they were looking at snapshots. Renata was looking at the whole picture, and she knew what caused that kind of pattern. She picked up the phone. Owen answered before the first ring finished. Dr. Cole. His voice was raw, exhausted. I need to see your daughter in person. When? Tomorrow. I'll send a car, a plane, whatever you need. I'll drive, but I need you to do something for me first. Anything. I need you to trust me. Completely. No second guessing. No consulting other doctors. If I take this case, I do it my way. Silence. Then, if you can save her, I'll do anything you ask. Renata's chest tightened. I can't promise I'll save her, Mr. Langford. Then what can you promise? She closed her eyes. That I won't stop trying until there's no fight left. That's all I need. Renata hung up. She sat in the dark for a long time. Then she walked to the small box on her bookshelf. Inside a photo. Maya, age 7. Gap-toothed smile, holding a frog. Renata traced her daughter's face with one finger. I couldn't save you, she whispered, but maybe I can save her. She closed the box and started packing. Renata arrived at Owen's estate just after noon. It wasn't what she expected. She'd imagined cold marble, glass walls, the kind of wealth that felt like a museum. Instead, it was warm. Wooden floors, soft rugs, toys scattered in the hallway, drawings taped to the fridge. A home where a child lived. Still lived. Owen met her at the door. He looked hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside him and left just the shell. Dr. Cole. Mr. Langford. They shook hands. His grip was strong, desperate. She's upstairs. The nurse just gave her medication so she might be asleep. That's fine. I just need to see her. He led her up a winding staircase. Every step felt heavier. Calla's room was at the end of the hall. The door was cracked open. Soft afternoon light spilled through the curtains. And in the bed, a little girl, so small she barely made a shape under the blankets. Renata stepped inside. Owen stayed in the doorway, like he couldn't bear to go any closer. Calla was asleep. Her skin was pale, almost translucent. Her breathing was shallow. And if drip fed into her arm, monitors beeped softly. But what struck Renata most was how still she was. Children weren't supposed to be that still. Renata approached slowly. She didn't wake her, just observed. The faint tremor in her hands. The way her lips were slightly blue. The bruising along her collarbone. Then she saw it. A mark tiny. Just below Calla's left ear. Circular. Old, faded. Scar tissue. Renata's breath caught. She pulled out her penknife, leaned closer. Examined the mark from 3 different angles. Then she stood up. walked back into the hallway. Owen was waiting, eyes wide. Well? Renata's voice was careful. Has Kala ever been bitten by a tick? Owen blinked. A tick? Specifically, a lone star tick. It has a white dot on its back. Common in the southeastern US. I don't know. Maybe. She's always outside, He stopped. Wait. 2 years ago. We were in Virginia. She had a bite. We thought it was a spider. The doctor said it was nothing. Renata's jaw tightened. It wasn't nothing. She pulled out her tablet, showed him images, charts, case studies. This is alpha-gal syndrome. It's a severe allergic reaction to a sugar molecule found in red meat. It's triggered by the bite of a lone star tick. Owen stared at the screen. But she hasn't eaten red meat in months. The doctors put her on a restricted diet. It doesn't matter. The damage is already done. Her immune system has been in overdrive for 2 years. It's not just attacking the allergen anymore, it's attacking everything. She looked at him. Her body thinks it's dying. So it's trying to shut down before the threat kills her. Owen's face went white. You're telling me my daughter is dying because of a tick bite? I'm telling you her immune system has been fighting a war for so long. It doesn't know how to stop. Can you stop it? Renata hesitated. I don't know. That's not good enough. It's the truth. Her voice was firm, but not unkind. I can try. I can design a treatment protocol. Immunotherapy, desensitization. But Owen. She said his name without thinking. This isn't a guarantee. Her body is so damaged. There's a chance it won't respond. There's a chance we'll be too late. Owen's eyes filled with tears. But there's a chance. Yeah, then that's enough. Renata worked through the night. She built a treatment plan from scratch. Called researchers, ordered compounds. Cross-referenced every case study she could find. By 4 a.m., she had something. Not a cure, but a chance. Owen found her in the kitchen at dawn. She was surrounded by notes, empty coffee mugs, medical journals. You haven't slept. Neither have you. He sat down across from her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Owen said very quietly, Why are you doing this? Renata looked up. Doing what? Helping us. You don't owe me. You don't owe me anything. She was silent for a long time. Then, I had a daughter. Owen went still. Her name was Naya. She died when she was 9. Renata's voice cracked. I was a doctor. I was supposed to save her. I thought if I just worked harder, if I asked the right questions. She stopped. Looked away. I was wrong. Owen's throat tightened. I'm so sorry. Renata wiped her eyes. I couldn't save her, but maybe. She looked at him. Maybe I can save Kala. Owen reached across the table. Took her hand. Thank you. She squeezed back. And for the first time in years, Renata let herself hope. The first week was hell. Kala's body fought the treatment. Fever spikes, vomiting, full body tremors. Twice, her heart rate dropped so low Renata had to shock her back. Owen watched it all. Every needle, every seizure, every moment his daughter's body convulsed in pain. And Renata was there. Every second. She didn't leave Kala's side. Didn't eat unless Owen brought her food. Didn't sleep unless Kala was stable. They took shifts. One watching the monitors. One resting in the chair by the window. Late nights bled into early mornings. And somewhere in the exhaustion, the fear, the endless waiting, they started talking. Tell me about Justine, Renata said one night. Owen was surprised. No one asked about Justine anymore. She was a brilliant, he said quietly. Funny. She used to argue with me about everything. Science, politics, what to have for dinner. He smiled faintly. I miss arguing with her. Renata nodded. Maya was like that, never stopped asking why. Why is the sky blue? Why do people die? Why can't you fix everything, Mama? Her voice broke. I didn't have an answer for that last one. Owen looked at her. You're fixing it now. Emma, you're here. You're trying. That's more than most people would do. Renata's eyes filled. It doesn't feel like enough. It is. One night, Calla woke up. Her eyes fluttered open. She looked at Renata. Are you my doctor? I am. Are you gonna make me better? Renata's chest ached. I'm going to try with everything I have. Calla's lip trembled. I don't want to die. Renata's breath caught. Owen, sitting in the corner, made a sound like something inside him shattered. Renata took Calla's small hand. Listen to me, sweetheart. You are so strong, stronger than you know. And I need you to keep fighting. Can you do that? Calla nodded, tears streaming down her face. I'll try. That's my girl. After Calla fell back asleep, Owen stepped into the hallway. Renata found him there 10 minutes later, leaning against the wall, face in his hands. She didn't say anything, just stood beside him. And when he finally broke, when the sobs came, raw and terrible, she put her arms around him and let him fall apart. 3 weeks into treatment, everything collapsed. Calla's fever spiked to 105. Her oxygen levels plummeted. The seizures came back, worse than before. Renata tried everything. Adjusted dosages, ran new blood work, consulted every contact she had. Nothing worked. Calla was slipping away, and there was nothing Renata could do to stop it. Owen found her at 3 a.m. in the hallway outside Calla's room. She was sitting on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, head in her hands. Renata. She didn't look up. I'm losing her. No. I am. I can see it. Her body's shutting down. I don't know what I'm missing. I don't. Her voice shattered. I can't do this again. I can't watch another little girl die because I wasn't good enough. Owen dropped to his knees in front of her. Stop, stop. He took her face in his hands. You are the only reason she's still alive. The only reason I'm still breathing. You haven't failed her. Then why is she dying? I don't know. But I know you haven't given up. And neither has she. Renata's tears fell freely now. I promised you. You promised to try. And you have, you are. He pulled her into his arms. And she broke. Completely. 12 years of grief, of guilt, of carrying a weight no one should carry. It all came pouring out. And Owen held her. Didn't try to fix it. Just held her. The next morning, Calla's eyes opened. Her fever had broken. Her oxygen was stable. The rash fading. Renata didn't trust it. She ran tests. Watched, waited. But hour by hour, Calla got stronger. On the 4th day, Calla sat up. On the 7th, she smiled. On the 10th, she asked for pancakes. And Renata finally let herself breathe. 6 weeks later, Calla was running through the garden. Barefoot, laughing, alive. Renata stood on the terrace, watching her. Owen came up beside her. She asked if you're staying. Renata's heart clenched. What did you say? I said I hoped you would. She looked at him. Owen. I know you have a life. A practice. I'm not asking you to give that up. He turned to face her. But I'm asking you not to disappear. Renata's throat tightened. I don't know how to do this. Do what? Stay. Be part of something. I've spent 12 years running from everything that hurt. I don't know if I remember how to stop. Owen took her hand. Then let me remind you. If this story reminds you of someone who refused to let you go, share it with them. Right now. Renata didn't answer that day. Or the next. She went back to North Carolina. Back to her clinic, her routines, her carefully constructed solitude. But nothing felt right anymore. The silence she used to crave felt suffocating. The work she used to lose herself in felt hollow. Because part of her, the part she'd buried 12 years ago, was still in that house. With that little girl and her father. 2 weeks later, her phone rang. It was Kala. Dr. Renata? Hi, sweetheart. Are you coming back? Renata closed her eyes. I don't know. Daddy misses you. He doesn't say it, but I can tell. Kala, I miss you too. Renata's heart broke open. I miss you too, baby. Then come home. Renata drove back that night. No plan, no warning. She just went. Owen answered the door. His face went still. Then, he smiled. The kind of smile that reaches all the way to your soul. You came back. I came back. Kala appeared, squealing, throwing herself into Renata's arms. Renata held her tight, and felt something she thought she'd lost forever. Home. 3 months later, they opened the Maya Langford Foundation for Rare Pediatric Diseases. Named after the daughter Renata lost. Funded by the man who'd almost lost everything. Built for the children no one else would fight for. Kala cut the ribbon. She stood between Renata and Owen, holding both their hands. And when the cameras flashed, Renata didn't look away. She smiled. Because she'd learned something. Grief doesn't end. But love. Love can grow around it. Until you remember how to breathe again. Thank you for staying with us through this Golden Heart story. If this moved you, if it reminded you that hope is worth fighting for, please hit that like button and subscribe. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter. And I need to ask you one last thing. What moment in this story will stay with you tonight? Was it Kala's question, I don't want to die? Was it Renata breaking in that hallway? Was it Owen refusing to let go? Or was it the moment she came home? Tell me in the comments. Because your story matters too. And I promise, I'm listening. See you in the next one.